Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about Louk Phiangdae, who was 11 years old when he went missing back on February 6th of 1996 from Raymond, Washington. So Louk was from a family of Laotian immigrant refugees, and they came in the 80s and they settled in Washington state. So it says that Louk was the fifth oldest out of 7 children, and it says he jumped out of his first floor bedroom window at night and he was never seen again. There was a storm happening that night, and it says there were rumors that swirled around the coastal logging town, which was around 3,000 people. Various rumors and speculation regarding this. But according to his sister, this all started from when Louk and his younger brother were roughhousing. And the sister said that the father said something to him that was very cruel. She said that when she looked at Louk, this is her words, "I could tell he was pretty hurt. I'd never seen him like this before." Now, according to reports, it said that the father only told him to calm down, go take a shower, and get ready for bed. So why the sister would say that the father said something to him that was extremely hurtful is kind of like weird to me, but I guess we'll get into that a little later. His older brother, Louk, spelled T as in Tom, Aolook, was at a high school basketball game at the time and was the only family member who was not at home. It was 7 p.m. on a stormy Tuesday night, and it would storm for the rest of the week. Okay, it was 52 degrees at the time and about 90 minutes before low tide, because there's also a thought that he could have, drowned. There were some neighbors that say that they saw him running across a road towards a bridge late at night on this night, sometime after he was reported missing. So the sister said from a news report that she went and checked on Louk after he had gone in his room and closed the door, after the father said what he said to him. Then I read a report that said the father went and checked on him. So that wasn't quite clear. Apparently, the parents didn't speak good English, but they were able to get by because it was a community with other Asian immigrants. So I guess they were working in community, you know what I mean, and didn't really have much of a need to learn the language or English. But it says that the father worked for the CIA during the Vietnam years or something like that, or the Laotian. There was something that was going on, and the father worked for the Green Berets and fed information to U.S. forces, and that's really how they got him out of Laos at the time. So he had to have been able to speak some kind of some level of English. So there's that, and then something else that's sketchy is that the older brother to Louk was overheard saying that he knows his father killed Louk. Okay, so what got me is the daughter, the one that you'll see, like if you look this up, and the interviews that I'll be given, it's one particular sister that does the media, right? And she's the one that says that the father said something to him, and he took it bad. And somebody telling you to get ready for bed, which is like a common thing when you're a kid, go take a shower, get into bed, is not terrible wordplay. So there's just a lot, that's kind of off to me, why he would be so upset about that to the point where he would run away. So I get the feeling that I'm just suspecting that there must have been some sort of historic issue between the father and Louk, or some sort of culture of verbal abuse or psychological abuse with Louk regarding his father or even both parents. So I'm just going through an article right quick just to kind of give you guys a backdrop, because I never heard of this case. I stumbled upon this case. I was just watching Seattle, Washington, I guess they do every 6 months they do these unsolved cases. and just decided to look into this one. Yeah, so there's the drowning theory, runaway theory. It says the Raymond police deny public records request to view the case files. So that's the brother Robert died in 2021. He was 32. The father died at 75 years old in 2023, and the mother died in 2020. So yeah, I mean, this case is kind of like, it's really kind of sketchy to me, because I think everybody's kind of suspect, including the officer that was searching. There was only 2 cops that were searching that night, and one of the officers said that he saw a yellow car parked by the bridge, where the other witnesses say that they thought they saw Louk running towards. He said that there was a car that was parked down there that wasn't running. It was just parked. It was a yellow or orange car. And he's like, oh, well, I should have checked out the car. And to this day, I guess I should have gone and made sure that. So, I don't know. That's kind of sketchy, but you know. So going back to someone saying they overheard Louk say something about his dad. It says here, 2 months after the disappearance on April 14th of 96, a counselor at the Shoalwater Bay Medical Clinic, 20 miles west of Raymond, told police that one of their patients said her daughter heard Louk's older brother, Louk, who was 17 at the time, say that he knew his dad had killed Louk, but wouldn't tell anyone because he was afraid his dad would kill him. Okay, it said Ron interviewed Louk, who denied saying it. Ron was one of the investigative officers, Ron Davis, the detective, who had, his suspicions. So Ron also went on to say that the family was close-lipped about a lot of things, and yeah, he just had his suspicions. So let's go ahead and get into the spreads. So in this spread, I feel like it really just talks about the household situation, what was going on at home. It feels like there was some indecisions to kind of work on getting past some of the poor, or just the poor ways that I think this is about the father, the way he was interacting with the children. Like there was some stubbornness there, and there was some apprehension to kind of change the way that he was dealing with the kids consistently in the past. So there's some negative connotation to that, some rebelliousness, and just refusing to compromise. And this is part of likely what created the air of like mental, emotional abuse in the house, because some of the other kids, two of the other kids said that he did not physically abuse the children, the father. It's what he said and it's how he said that hurt the most. So yeah. So in this spread, I think it really centers on the mom, because I get a lot of nurturing, home harmony, really trying to keep things together. But it looks like she may have recognized that there was an imbalance, and that could have been, what she saw her husband doing or saying, or how, that sort of thing. All the stuff that was going on with the father, maybe she didn't like that, but it looked like she was trying to keep everything together and stay strong. So I feel like this spread is definitely about her, the mom. So in this spread, as you can see, I did a true crime shuffle, and then we did the kipper. So what I'm gathering from this is that I believe he was picked up when he left the house. I believe he was picked up by somebody he kind of sort of knew or recognized. I'm getting like police officer. I'm getting police officer. Somebody that he was probably taught that he should trust, but didn't really know, so we have the fear apprehension card. Male was involved, white Caucasian. He's acknowledging he's with the ancestors. Abducted during a traffic stop. That could be he was stopped on the road. Sexual orientation basis could be a PDF file or somebody with a predilection, sexual or alternative sexuality. Hate crime based. He could have been targeted because specifically because he was Asian. This was an area where there were a lot of Asians, sex slavery, there's a lot of people that have twisted and sick like attractions to Asians because there's a perception that they are built and are very much childlike. So you see like a lot of these PDF files that are attracted to Asian children or women because of their size, because they're, physically childlike. And so that race-based thing could have been part of the motive to take young Louk. So this is part of the spread that you had just seen, and so we'll just go through this. We have toil and labor, mature man, thief, child, journey, privileged woman, bad health, occupation, family room, main, female. This is kind of interesting because, and I just thought of this while I was doing this reading, and I was reading like the stuff about the sister, what she was saying and how that kind of like didn't match up with what, because she said that Louk went into the room, he closed the door, he never did that before. She said she was the one that got up and checked on him because she was worried about him. But then the father claimed that he was the one that got up and checked on him. So with these indiscrepancies, like even the little subtle ones, and then like his shoe being found in the house, I have to wonder like if the family did play a part in this, and if that's, what we're seeing in the cards. Because this family room thing, privileged lady, bad health, somebody with bad mental health, perhaps family room. This feels like it's close to family. So let's just go ahead and keep looking. Now they say that Louk only had one pair of shoes. So how did he climb out of the window? And there were no prints found when the police showed up, because remember it was storming. So there would have been, mud and stuff like underneath the window where he was. There were no foreign prints found there. The screen was missing, and there were no footprints, indicating that they couldn't even see any evidence that he had actually climbed out of the window. If he only owned one pair of shoes, and one of the shoes were found under his bed, then what was he wearing? Was he just outside running around in a storm with one shoe on? Okay, so in this spread, again, I feel like it just reiterates to me that Louk was out there. Now, I don't know what this dynamic is with the house, because I'm telling you, this is like really kind of sketchy to me. But I think that somebody picked Louk up, and someone that he was supposed to be able to trust. I think this person said, well, don't worry about it. We're going to, everything's going to be all right. Just kind of like gassed his head up. But I think this person probably held him. This is a local person. I feel like Louk was local even until like his last moments, I feel like they probably kept him captive, probably did horrible or strange things to him, and attempted to pass him off to somebody else or even sell him. Because guys, remember, like the Pacific Northwest, even outside of my readings with the Midwest, like the whole Nebraska, Iowa, like Boys Town PDF file ring out there, the Pacific Northwest was notorious for the PDF file rings. You think of Kyron Horman, the reading I did for him, that went into that quite a bit. These rings are very much organized. I mean, and even if somebody was not a part of an organized ring, if you're somebody that has some kind of privilege in society, you know who the bad people are. You know who to talk to if you want to sell or buy guns illegally, or other contraband illegally, if you want to sell somebody to somebody. So I feel like a person who would have been in society that had some level of high honor, quote unquote, maybe a member of law enforcement or somebody else that had some sort of like official position, could have definitely tapped into dark resources and had access to that. So I think that whoever this was took him in, gassed his head up, and ended up holding him as a captive and abusing him, and then trying to like sell him off. And I feel like also what the cards are showing is that was unsuccessful. I see that there's a mature female in the mix too. For some reason, this was not successful. And I think because of that, that's where Louk left this world, you know. I think that's what happened ultimately. I think what's also tragic about this case is that the family could have been aware of who had him. There could have been a dialogue with the person who had him, because look, I have there's a lot of like, well, look at the bottom row. You got the coffin, the message, the privileged lady, which could be the sister, it could be anybody, a false person, resources, thoughts, family room, gift, marriage. You know what I mean? Could this have been, could Louk, quote unquote, disappearing have been like a relief to the family? Was Louk hyperactive? Like, because none of this makes sense to me. To climb out of a window and run away because you were told to take a shot. I mean, that's what we're told every night as a kid. You know what I mean? Like, this is definitely not quite right, and something is not right with that family. Allegedly, something really is not right with that family. I think that they know more. They played a part in this, and from the read up that I read on this, when the detectives talked about how the family was tight-lipped and they refused to use translators, lie detector tests were taken, but they said the father had experience with lie detector tests from when he worked for the CIA in Southeast Asia, so they couldn't rely on that or even consider using that. Sorry about the beeping, guys. So yeah, like this is. This could be a lot more tragic than what it actually seems, because there could be some knowledge or even participation or permission by the family or certain members of the family, allegedly. So I think there's much more to even look. I might even come back and look into this case a little deeper some point in the future to see what else I can see. But I feel like there's so much more to this than what I'm even thinking now. So let's get into this last spread. It wouldn't surprise me if these people had a thing going on, if some of these immigrants had a thing going on where they were selling their children, because, for like, to like certain PDF files, because remember, this is what they were doing. They're still doing this in Thailand and in other places, in Southeast Asia. Could some of them up there, because remember, this was a logging town. This was like a secluded logging town. Could some of them have had like some kind of side hustle where they were selling their kids or renting their kids off? Because for you to come to this country, not really speak the English, but kind of speak the English because you worked with our military. How do you not speak proficient English to some extent? And then you're here working, your wife is working, like, and then they had all these kids, they had a house. It's like, how much money could they have possibly have been making just working regular, like, low wage jobs and all these children? So could some of them have brought that over, seen it or experienced it or lived it and brought it over from where they were from, and have practiced it here? Some might argue it's survival work, but this child exploitation thing is big in Southeast Asia, and of course other places, but it's definitely there. Okay, so in this spread we have pathways, expectation, journey, community, court order, so a request or an order for something, change, gift, despair, coffin, and lovers. So this is where I feel like whoever this was, attempted, like, maybe if there was a money exchange thing, like hypothetically, and he wasn't getting money, or the family wasn't getting money, or whatever it was, however this could have gone, he then tried to sell the child, and he couldn't find a buyer. Could this have resulted in his demise? And I think that I feel like that's what happened. He took him, he held him captive. He was local. Family's got some kind of weird connection here, and he tried to pass him along or sell him to somebody else. Nobody would buy, and he met his demise. So So this is what I have for this reading, guys. Let me know what you think. Please support the video by liking, sharing, commenting. Let me know what you think about this, what your theories are. And thank you for watching. We'll pray for Louk, and and send him some energy. This child exploitation thing is it's so dark on so many levels. And us in the Western world, like, we know what we know from what we see on the news and what we know of here. But man, there are places, especially in Asia, where children, and in Africa, where children are just like, they're just not respected at all as living beings. And so send some love, send some energy. This is really really unfortunate. And as I always say with children, stay vigilant. If you see something, or you get a gut feeling about something you see in public or whatever, definitely speak up and do your part as a member of the human family. So thanks for tuning in again. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.